Hello members, and welcome to our 18th lecture of learning how to make mobile applications using Flutter. We are going to resume from where we stopped at in the previous class. Remember, in the previous class we were able to register someone into our local database successfully, and we stopped at the logic where we need to log in someone immediately after they have registered, and we need also to look into the logic of if like, for example, the logic of if I've logged in, when I go back I shouldn't again see the login page. That's what we need to work upon right now. So I hope you're ready to start this 40-minute session with me. If you are, then let's get started with the business. Alright, so this is our application. As you can see, I've already run it. So I'll go ahead and open the application. It will load, and then after 40 minutes it will open the login screen. So according to our logic, you can click on the register and then you'll be able to register. So let me go ahead and register a new user, and then we work on the login screen, on the login logic. Then after working on the login logic, work on the logout logic. After working on the logout logic, we work on the logic of if someone logs in, they shouldn't again go back and see the previous screen, something like that. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'll come here and put Mehindo. Oh, one more thing that I had forgotten, checking if the user is already existing on the database before we do what, before we register them. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to be displaying here the error. Okay, I'm going to be displaying here the error. So instead of just displaying the error and disappear, I'm going to create here some container that will be displaying the error just in case there is one. All right, let's go ahead and do that logic. So I'll come to the home screen. I'm into the login register screen. I'm going to come here on top of these buttons. Okay, on top of these buttons, I'm going to put a container, a container, and inside I'll put a child, and then I'll put text and say this is an error, just for testing. Yeah, so this container will be displaying errors. Okay, when I save, I should be able to see it. Okay, so it's supposed to be on top of this row, so I'll cut this. I'll come here on top here, on top of this row, so I'll put it. All right, this is an error. All right, so that's where the errors will be displaying, just in case there's an error. Okay, so I want this error to have the red background color, so I'll just simply put background color to be red. Okay, something like that. I want it to be having a width that is 100%, so I'll just put width infinity like this, double infinity like that. So I can give it some padding, so I can say padding, so I just put edge insert dot all, and then say maybe 15, and then save like that. So that's just a simple error. I can just maybe change the title, the color of the text. So I just put style here, text style. Now put text style, and then put color to be black, to be white, something like that. Yeah, so yeah, something like that. Then I can maybe change the font size, font weight to be maybe like 800, and then maybe change the font size to be like 18. Yep, let me remove this weight. All right, so that is our simple error box. So now we want to be showing this error box only when there's an error. Okay, so we're going to create here a variable called error. Okay, so I'm just simply come here and create a string called error message. String, I'm going to call it error message, and this error message by default will be empty. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to be checking if the error message is empty. I should hide this screen. I should hide this box. If it is not empty, I should display it. So how do we do that? That is very, very important part of Flutter. So to do that, we're just going to simply come here, okay, in front of this box, okay, or in front of this box. and in front of this container of the error. So I'll just simply come here and put the error message, and then put dot is empty. So I check if is empty. I want to display, to put the empty size box. So I just simply put question mark. That's how you check. If it's empty, you go ahead and put sized box. So sized box is a box that's used to space things, or to create something with space. So if you don't give this size box a width and height, it will literally be nothing. It will not show on the screen. And then I put colon after this size box. So what does it mean? The system will check if the error message is empty. It will go ahead and display the size box, and of course the size box is literally nothing on the screen. So if the error message is not empty, it will display the the container, okay, with the message, and then this container which has our red box and the message. So that's how you do it. Just say error message dot is empty, put question mark, and then put if it is empty, you should display the size box. If it's not empty, you should display this otherwise, and you separate them in this column to do so. So I'm going to remove this text, and then I put the error message there itself. Okay, then after doing that I'll save. After saving, of course the error message is empty. That's why you see this one is becoming empty right now. So yeah, it's called ternary operator. Yeah, you know it. So it is also in Flutter. It is also in Flutter in that programming. So I'm going to be setting, like, now if there's an error, of course you know where we'll get the errors from, in this response here, in response when it is failed. You remember this when you're making this toast. So what you're going to be doing, if there's an error, we're just going to simply say error message equals to, and then we say the results dot what? The result, we set them to be, we set the error message to be equal to the results. And then always remember to set status, so that it should update the entire system. So come here and put set state. Right, it's not going to do that because it's not a stateful widget. So come here and change this one to stateful widget. So right click there and just simply put convert to stateful widget. You see, I come here on top of this screen and change this one to stateful widget. Right click and say convert to stateful widget. Okay, then I'll be able to do what? To set a state. So I think you've seen how I've done that. So it will be stateful widget, right? So after resetting the error message, after setting the error message, remember to set state, so it can be able to do what? To update the state of the system. So set state. So that will always update the state in case there's any error. So I hope you've understood that. So I'll go ahead and do the same here. Where? Here. So when you're sending for registration, I first remove the error and update the state. So when you just click submit, I just remove the error, I clear it. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and begin. So what do we want to achieve right now? We want to achieve, if we are registering a user, we first see if there is no user with what? With the same username. So how are we going to do that? So we're going to work on the logic of getting the users, okay? I think we're going to do this logic from here. So before we save, we may first check if there's already exist, okay? If it already exists, we send back that user, okay? So let's go ahead and do here logic of getting the users who are on the system, okay? So to do that, we're going to write that function in the system, okay? In the function of user model. So I press Ctrl and click on save here, and I'm now here on the user model method, okay, in the user model class. So I'm going to write here a function that is going to be getting the users from what? From the local database. All right, so if you just watch these things step by step, you will not get confused, trust me. Right now you may think they are becoming too much, but if you watch bit by bit, just like I've been explaining step by step, you won't get confused, trust me. Okay, so right now we're going to create a function that is going to be getting for us the users from the table. So so let's go ahead and get here what I think already have a function like that that gets data from the database. Yeah, it is here. So I'm going to copy it and then I explain it. So I'll come to user model here, right? I'm going to paste that function of getting the users from the database, and I'll explain it step by step. Okay, let me paste it. I paste it. It is there. So it is here. It is having static, future, list, and then movie. So instead of movie here, I'm going to put user model. So what does it do? What does it mean here? It is static, means that you can call it even when you have not initialized the user object. It is future. Future means that you'll have to wait. It will not come just like straight. You will have to wait. Then you should expect something behind. I mean that it will give you. It will give you a list of what? Of user models. This is how you write it. Okay. Then you give it a name. For example, you can call it get items. Get items. All right. And then it's going to be asynchronous, and then it will always return for you the what? The items. All right. So after doing that, I go ahead and create the database. I initialize the database. You already know how we did this. And then after, I go ahead and initialize the table and make sure that the user table is initialized. So I just simply put here user model.init table and make sure the user table is initialized. So if it is well initialized, if it failed to initialize, I return what? I return an empty array. This is how you return an empty array and make a toast that maybe something failed and display like this. So here I'm initializing the database, I'm initializing the users table. After making sure that everything is well initialized, next thing that I'm doing, I am writing now the SQL that is going to get the data from what? From the local database and give it back to me. So this is how you write it. You just simply say list, then say map, and then you expect a JSON, and then say maps equals to. This is just, let me break it down. Okay, you see how I've written this one. This is just you're expecting a JSON back. List of map of string dynamic, just like the way we saved it. Okay, so here you're expecting what? A JSON back. Okay, equals, then you say equals to await. So you're waiting db.query. So in this db.query, it means that you're trying to get things in the database. Okay, it's just a simple thing. Let me just show you. Just simply a list of JSON, and then you just simply say db.query. So in this db.query, the first thing that you pass the table. Which table do you want to query? So of course you have what you call table name. All right, so it's going to substitute here the table name. You know the table name was already here. We call it users. So you see, it is just one line that is going to get you everything. Okay, and it's going to bring it you back in form of what? In form of a list of a JSON. All right, then after doing that, I'm going to just simply put here as an empty list of movies. Okay, and then I loop. Okay, for each I just say for variable map in what? In maps. So this is just the data that come from the database I've called maps. So in this, it's going to be, each of it is going to be a single JSON object. Okay, that is coming from what? From the database. So I have to write the logic that is getting the object from a JSON. I mean that is getting the data from JSON to a normal object of what? Of user model. I repeat, this I can call them items. This is a list of what? Of JSON. Remember, like they always saved one. Now it's sending me back a list of users who are in the database. So I'm going to loop through those lists. That this is how you loop. Just say for variable maybe item in items. Okay, or for example, I'm saying map in maps. Then when I'm looping, I want to create a function that will be getting the data from JSON. Okay, from JSON to the object that I want, which is the user model. Remember, when we saved it to JSON. So when you're getting back, we have to get it from what? From JSON. So I'm going to create a method here that is going to help me getting that data from JSON. So I already have one method of kind here. So like the way we did here to JSON, okay, I can create another method called from JSON. I just paste it here. So this from JSON is going to be kind of different. So what it will be doing, it will be getting the raw data which is in JSON and send it back in form of what? In form of an object of that item that you want. So I just pasted it here. So it's going to be static user model, and then say from JSON. Okay, from JSON. So what is it expecting? It's going to expect the raw map. Okay, you're going to be giving it a JSON file. This is what we call a map, a JSON file, and then it will go ahead and create a new object of the user model, like you can see here. I can call it item. Okay, then according to you define it as, so it's a new user of model, and then I just simply say item dot id equals to, so map is in form of just a row, just like a normal row array. Say put here id, like this. All right, so we're going to have id like the way we saved them. We're going to have id, we're going to have I duplicate this, we're going to have name. So make sure that you use the correct spelling. We're going to have a name, and then we're going to have username, like this. We're going to have username like this, and then after you return the item. So doing like this, it will be able to convert a raw map to an item or an object. All right, so here I'm just simply going to say, so as I'm looping through this raw data that has come from database, I just simply say items dot add, and then I just say from JSON. I can call it, since it is just in the same class, you say from JSON and then pass this raw map. You see, this is a single raw map, and then pass it here. So it will just simply add a successful JSON item, single item, into these items, and then after I return those items here, like this. So by doing like this, we'll be able to do what? To get all the items that are in our database. I hope you're together, members. Okay, so here I'll be able to get all the items in our database. So pause the video and watch this very carefully so you can understand. All right, it's simple, straightforward. It can become disturbing, like complicated for the first time, but when you practice it 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 10 times, trust me, you'll find it understandable. So don't judge it at just at a glance. And I will also always be available when you're really stuck. Try Google, try Stack Overflow, but when you can't move forward, I'll always be there. You can contact me and I can help you in person. All right, so now in here on this register, we're going to first test this function. So as I'm saying testing, it means that I'm going to come here on top of this register and try to do the other thing that we did. So I'm going to come to our for, and then just come here on top before we validate, before we register. I just want to come here and test without filling the form again and again. So I'll come here on top here and just return. All right, so I'm just going to say a list. So it's going to expect a list, so you write a list of user model. So I can say maybe users equals to, and then you say await users dot get items. Remember, this is the function that we just created. Okay, so whatever comes, maybe I should just display it in the error message, for the sake of seeing, for the sake of visualization. Right, so I can just simply say found what? Yes, just a second. Yeah, I'm finishing class. Yeah. Close. Oh, sorry about that. So here, I just want to show things that have come from the users table. All right. Dot length. All right. So by doing like that, it will be able to display for me. So I click save. You see, found one. All right. So if I put here, Peter Mohindo, and then I put here Peter, and then I put 1 2 3 4 5 6. Sorry, suppose we will not be able to we will not be able to proceed here. I want to add some multiple users. Let me first comment this. Oh shit, sorry about that. All right, let me first comment this, and then we add some multiple users, and you see if we can be able to retrieve them. Save, register, smile swipe, and then I put Suma, and then password 1 2 3 4 5 6. Register that one. Successfully registered. You see, now the problem is I can again register the person who has the same username as many as I want. You see, I've clicked many times. All right, let's go ahead and register another one. Let's go ahead and register BR Faika. I can put here BR register, then I can put here Bebe Cool, and then put Bebe register and put maybe Bobby Wine and put Bobby. Okay, register. So they are registered. Okay, so remember I had commented this one, so let me uncomment, and then we see if we can retrieve these guys back. I save, I update the app, I save, update the app. Remember we're on top here, so we are not doing the logic of registration. We're on top here and then return. I register. Oh, one was found. So what is causing that? Why is it not auto incrementing? Let's see, even who is that first one? Even that first dot name, maybe wine. The last person is overriding the rest. What could be causing that? Let's see. Is it the algorithm? Conflict override? I did this one that is causing it. Let me see. Conflict, let's put ignore. So users are coming with ID 0. Maybe it is overriding them. So what is the integer auto increment? All right, let's go ahead and try to conflict. So I've tried to change the conflict to ignore. Let me remove the conflict and see, which is the default conflict. All right, let's see if it will not increment them. All right. All right, I think let me go ahead and put, after successful register, I should go ahead and display the users who have been registered. I've just got the other function from top and I put it down here. All right, save. Okay, unique constraint, what are they saying? Because database is unique. Okay, see. Conflict, there is ignore, there is abort, there is rollback, the increment. I don't know why it's not working. Let me see how we did it in the previous lecture. Let's see here. Supposed to increase them. So you have here local database. Could have here something. Add, it adds it. All right, so let's see how we did that. That is a model list. Model list. So you have a password model. All right. Okay, this was not going to the database. Let us see. Local database here. Have a movie title, have the actor, have the rating, submit, can fetch the movie. Submit. Okay, I think that error was already there. So auto increment is not working. Let's see how we can fix that. Because it is coming with an ID of 0, so it cannot do what? It cannot auto increment. Alright, I think we should remove ID from JSON code. Let's remove ID and we see how it fares. Okay. Alright, let's go ahead and test again. So that is part of programming, yeah? Okay, let me just display the number of users which I have found. Where is it? For app diary, app register. Of course, going to okay, register, showing 3 now. I'm gonna register 4. Oh, okay, I've just seen the problem. So if you're registering, the problem is where the problem was. If you're registering a new user, don't put the what? Don't put the ID in the JSON. Okay? I'm repeating, if you're registering the new user, don't put the ID in the JSON. Why? If you put the ID in the JSON, what does it mean? It means that it will not auto increment. It will replace that user with the ID that you provided. Remember, here we have our ID by default as 0. So if you send back the 0, it means that all the users will always have 0, 0, 0 ID because they're being what? They're being replaced. So when you're saving the database, you get rid of what? Of the ID in the JSON that you're providing, and then Flutter will take care of adding one. Okay, so maybe you can call this one register new, something like that. So you can work on the logic if you want to include the ID, or if you don't want to include the ID, if you don't want to include the ID, depending on what to do, what you want. So I hope you've understood this. Okay, remove the ID in your JSON that in case you want to do what? To save it offline. Otherwise, it will go ahead and do what? And replace it. Do you get the point? I hope you do. So that's it. So I've removed the ID. Okay. So let me come here and put Bebe Cool. So when I put Bebe Cool, I put his username is Bebe, and then his password 1 2 3 4 5 6. Register. You see, you now have 5 users. I put here Bobby Wine. So his username is Bobby. Okay. Then 7, and then I come and put here Jose Cameleon, and then his username is Jose, and then password the same. Then I register. All right. So we now have 7 users. All right. So now what do you need to fight right now? We don't need people to have same user IDs, right? We don't want people to have same usernames. That's what you don't want. So we're going to go through that. So what you're going to do, you're going to come to our register form. I'm going to copy this logic of getting users from database, and then I'm going to put it here on top just for the sake of testing, and then I'm going to do what? To return here. All right, to return. Okay, just for the sake of testing. Okay, so every time I click on register, it is collecting the users from the data table and then display them here just for the sake of testing. So now here, what we want to do is, if you're registering a user, we want to first check them. Are they existing on the database or not? If they are not existing on the database, you should do what? We should stop them. So what we're going to do here, we're going to write the where condition. Okay. So there are so many ways of how you can go around this. Okay. You can either do all that logic from here, but for me, I can simply do it like this, okay? But you can be creative even more than me and do it your way. So I'm going to put here in this get items, I'm going to put I'm going to make it expect a string. So you open curly bracket if you want these things to be option. If you want them to be option, you open curly bracket, okay? So I'm going to make it expect a string of called where, and I'll always make it 1. I hope that's okay. Yeah, I hope that's okay. Yeah. So you see, it means that these get items will always expect something called where, okay? If you don't provide where, by default is always 1. If you provide where, then you write your own where condition, just like the way you write SQL, right? So if you want to put the where in this Sqflite, what do? You put your where here, you put your comma, and then you'll see more parameters that it can take after the table. So it can take multiple parameters. The other parameters that it can take where, it can take columns that you want to expect. So to get back, you can take order bar, you can take the having, you can put the it can take the limit, it can take the order bar, it has the where arguments, okay? So right now I'm going to just where. So this where is nothing but expecting an SQL condition, just like you can say where id equals to 1, something like this. So it will go ahead and get the id, just like the normal where conditions of what, of SQL. So instead of putting instead of putting this manually, I'm going to put here my where. This is the where that I'm expecting here. So if you don't provide this where, it will be 1. And you know the SQL, if you don't put if you put where 1, it will return back to you everything. Okay? So I'll save. But you can be more creative than me and do something much more better. So this is how you put the what? The where condition. So I hope you've understood that. So if I come here, try to get here, everything is okay. So it means that I can possibly pass now where in this what? In this SQL. So I can say maybe where, and then I pass the string and say where username equals to, and then I pass the username. So I can say Jose. See? So if I say save, I save, and then I try to see there are only 2 users who have the what? The username of Jose. I can say where username equals to Bebe. I save. And there's only 2 users who have username of Bebe. Come Bobby, save. There's only 2. And if I come Muhindo, save. There's no user who has the name username what? Of called Muhindo. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to be substituting in here the username of someone who has just registered. So I'll just simply come and say new user dot what? Dot username. So after, I'll check if it returns me something that is greater than 0. I'll say user with same username already what? Already exists, and I update the status, and then I stop from there. So I'll just simply say if if users with is not empty, I'll go ahead and say set status and say user with same username already exists on database. Change the username and try again, and then I immediately return. Okay, so that's how we can be able to check the where. So look into it carefully, practice it, make sure that you understand it, so you can even be creative and do something that is much more better than this. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this, and then I put it after validation. So here I reset the error message, here I validate the form, and then here I check if the user with the same username already exists. Okay, like this. So just simply say where I give the users and then I pass the username, and you understand, eh? I check if it's not empty, I reset the message and display it, and then immediately return. I hope we are together, right? Okay, so before I even register, so I will first do that. So let me go ahead and say register. You see, user with same username already exists. Okay, Jose1 successfully registered. I submit again, user same username already exists. That is beautiful. Okay, so go ahead and do that, so that you should be able to understand how to manipulate this database. So let me go ahead and now log in the user. So to log in the user, we will have so after successful login, I want to log in the user and then submit them and make them proceed to what? To the main screen of the main home. So to do that, we just simply have a model, a separate model that stores the logged in users. Okay, you have a separate model that stores the logged in users. So after saying account has been created successfully, so we're going to create an instance of that logged in users model. So it is a separate table, so for which it's just saving people who are logged in only. So this one is now like the online database, this one the users model. Now this one is now like the offline database, the one that saves the people who are logged in. You can see it is a separate separate model, separate table. Okay, just its logic is to. So let's go ahead to log in a user. Just simply save the user. That's how we did the logic if you watch the previous videos. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. So I'll copy this logged in user model and then come here after successful registration. Here after successful registration, I'll just go ahead and create now the logged in user model, and then go ahead and say logged in user equals to, you create the instance and then try to copy what is in the person who has registered. Try to copy the username equals to what? To, okay, you may first get this user from the local database, so you can be able to do what? To, let me show you. You can be able to get their user ID, because we need to reference them when they're doing some things in the user ID. So I'm just going to get them. Okay, so here after successful registration, I go ahead and again now get that user from what? From the database. Okay, so I can say maybe remove it because I already declared it. Users equals to, well, username is equal to that. So I check if now it's empty. If it's empty, I say failed to log you in. You see, after successful registration, I now get it from what? From the database. So if it is empty, I say failed to log in. Failed to log in. Okay, then that you know that maybe it made a false registration. So if it is not empty, I'm just going to now create the logged in user model. You see, this is just nothing but the way what we've done, but in a different table. I go ahead and get dot first. So the one who is first on top of this, you know, it's a list. So dot first, and then I put maybe dot ID. So I copy his ID and I put it here. Okay, I get his username. So this is now like the way you can get things from online and then save them to a local database. I copy his username, I copy his name, save it in name. Okay, name, I copy his last what? I mean his password. Do you need to copy the password? I don't think, but in case you need to copy his password, and then after you save this logged in user. So once you save this logged in user, we'll count that user has done what? Has logged in successfully. I hope it has saved. Okay, does it have save? Does it have insert? Doesn't have insert. All right, so let's go ahead and do the logic of inserting. So once it inserts, then you know that it has logged in the user. Yeah, it's kind of complex, but it's worth it. So I'm going to just copy this logic of what? Of the login of save in the user model, and I'm going to do the same thing in what? In the logged in user model. Okay, So I'll go to the logged in user model and then press the logic of save. We had not put it there. So it's going to return a string like the way it was doing, and then open database, and then initialize the table. Yeah, our time is up. Give me like more 5 minutes. Initialize the table. After initializing the table, check if the table is successfully created. After checking the table is successfully created, convert the data to JSON. So let's go ahead and convert the data to JSON. So I can, since it is having almost the same as user ID, as this one, so I can just copy the same. So this one will not do auto increment, so I will need the same ID to be saved in the local database. Okay, so I just see they're having the same information, so I go ahead and insert that. So come back here to JSON, here to JSON, and then if it successfully saves in, then I say it has successfully saved in. All right, so I hope that is okay. So let's come back here to the logged in model. So I just here save. So I can also await. I just simply say response again. We have our response equals to await. We called it results. Okay, await. So here we're trying now to save the user. Okay, so again we check if it fails to, if it returns something, then we know something went wrong. Okay, if it fails, then we say, so I just go ahead and check if the result is not empty. I know it is successful. If it's not empty, I know it failed. If it's successful, then I know it logged in the user successfully. Yeah, so I can say user logged in successfully, like this. So all right, so let's try to register. User already exists with the same username, Jose2. Perfect, user registered successfully. Then wait. I hope user logged in successfully as well. Yeah, logged in successfully. Let's try again. Jose3. Sorry. Okay, let me put here 3. Save. Logged in, register successfully, and then why it's not showing? Why it's not showing login successfully? Okay, we get a user from the database. If user is not empty, if it's empty, say failed to login. Say the state. All right. Alright, I think that's okay. Now lastly, just the last bit, we need to, if this user is logged in successfully, let us move this user to the what? To the registration screen. So to the login screen, to the home screen. Just copy this. This is just the last line, and then we call it a day. Alright. Save. Home screen. Jose 4. Okay, register. Yeah, register successfully. I think the toast was just blacking behind, and then we will move you to the what? To the home screen. So it means that you have successfully registered. Okay, our time is up, but I wanted to finish also with the what? With the login screen, but no problem, we can do that tomorrow, since most of the things that we have covered they're already here. So in the next lecture now, we'll go ahead and see how we can log in the user, and also how we can limit the user. For example, after registering, when I click back, I'm not supposed to see that registration form. Now we can look at the logic of how you can save now into your diary, how you can log out, how you can create multiple accounts, something like that. That's what we'll do in the tomorrow's lecture. So make sure that you don't miss, make sure that you practice, that you'll be on the same page with us. All right, we call it a lecture, unless there is a question.
Alright, thank you so much for the lecture. I really learned a lot.